Okay. So it is January 16th. We've got a big week ahead. We've had a few big weeks leading up to this big week. And, as I mentioned last time, we just need this practice more than ever. Last weekend when I didn't teach, I attended a online bar mitzvah, which was really meaningful. It was just another way of like connecting to spiritual community and connecting to family and friends from afar through these, through this technology. But I also was grateful to take the week off because I was taken down after what happened in the Capitol. I'm just going to be real honest about it. It was really, really hard. And I needed so much time just in my own body to process and be with what that evoked for me, and also holding space for others and what it evoked collectively. And I come back again and again to how incredibly important having a practice is, having multiple practices during this time, right? Whether it's walking in nature, getting on the yoga mat, sitting in meditation, pranayama, having all of these practices to help move through the stress and the accumulated tension and emotional grief that gets evoked in these kinds of situations in our world. So it is really my hope to create very sacred and safe space in these classes for whatever arises, whether that's personal, whether it's response to collective grief, whether it's within your interpersonal relationships in your world, that whatever's touching you, whatever's moving through you in emotionally and mentally, that you have a space that's held for you that allows you to turn toward those tight spaces and emotions of whether it's shame or heaviness or grief or fear, that there's a space to turn towards it, but also to know that those contractions don't have to define us. The story doesn't end with that. It's important to have a space to go towards them or into that, but also to know that when we are fully feeling an emotion, it can move through us and it can clear space. And on the other side of that, there's a natural, expansive outcome that we feel more room when we actually go in towards the contraction, that something opens. And it's this theme today of that contraction and expansion, and what in yoga sometimes we refer to as spanda. And spanda is a term that can be translated as pulsation. And the pulsation of the universe, in the sense that really what we're doing when we're kind of honoring the pulsations as they show up in us, is that we're also honoring these pulsations, and you can see it in my hands here, the pulsations that live in all of nature, right? The flowers that open and close, the waves in the ocean, the rising and the setting of the sun. And so what we're doing is a remembering practice that brings us back into alignment with our own true nature, that no flower is meant to remain tight in its bud all the time, nor are we, right? And so that we can honor that we are meant to open again. And of course, no flower is meant to remain open all the time, nor are we. So that we can reclaim our capacity for that full range of energy and experience within ourselves. So in our kind of Spanda or our Pranic flow today, we will explore this practice of remembering, and also just kind of have some tools to move past the obstacles, those tight spaces where they do show up or where it does get tight in you. So I'm going to share a little poem here, and just shifting my spotlight here, and then we'll shift into practice together. And So taking a moment for yourself before I go into this poem to just notice what arises in response to what I just shared, what resonates, maybe what doesn't resonate. And then tuning in to notice, what is it that you are bringing into your practice today? What inspired you to come be here? What are you hoping to get out of the practice? And perhaps setting your own intention for your time on the mat. And I'll offer this poem. It's called Remember by Joy Harjo. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origin of the universe. Remember, you are all people, and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember, language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember. So with all of that, we'll find some movement. I'll invite you to take a few moments and rub your palms together. Getting some warmth. I'm especially drawn to do this because it's chilly in my home this Colorado January morning. So just maybe generally getting a little bit of warmth. I'll invite you to take that warmth and just bring your palms to your face. I think you could soak in that energy right into your eyes, your cheeks. Maybe draw your hands over the crown of your head. So be it, you mess up your hair, that's just fine, right? Maybe stroke the base of your skull. Across the front of your throat. And then shoulders down the arms to hands and back up to shoulders a few times there. A little contact with your skin. Down the front body. Remember, down the back body. And if you'd like for a moment, just sweeping down the legs. Arriving in your skin. Good. And then, again, I'll just name this again, as we've got all levels in the room. And if you want to start our classes in a chair, on a couch, always welcome. I'll share cross-legged. You can sit up on something. So adapt this for your body. I'm going to draw the arms open. Just allow your chest to find a little expansion here. And exhale, we're going to press palms and elbows together, finding that midline. Inhale, we'll expand. Exhale. Press it in. Find that little shape in the press. Inhale, let's open it up. One more time like that. We'll change it up a little bit. Inhale to open the arms. This time, exhale, we're going to clasp the hands and press the palms forward. Listen carefully. Inhale, we're going to draw arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to release hands behind the back. Clasp again. In pressing down with the knuckles, we're going to inhale to lift through the heart. Exhale, we'll bow forward. Opening up through the backs of the shoulders, the back of the heart. Inhale to lift. Releasing the hands. Maybe roll the shoulders for a moment. Now you might want to switch which shin is in front if you're sitting cross-legged. We're going to repeat that little sequence again. Inhale, opening the arms wide. Exhale, taking palms together, interlace hands, and press the hands away. Inhale, lifting arms up. Exhale, releasing the hands. We'll interlace at the back of the spine. Drawing knuckles down, lift through your heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And exhale, bowing forward. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. Maybe roll the shoulders. Good. This time, inhale, let's sweep the arms up. Exhale, sweeping right hand behind. Left hand can come to the right knee. Maybe lengthening the spine a little more here, and exhale into a gentle open twist. Nothing forced at this stage of practice or at any stage of practice. Just inviting yourself to arrive in your body. Little micro movements inside of the shapes, greeting those tight spots. And then inhale, we'll sweep arms up overhead. And we'll take it to the other side. Right hand, left knee, left hand behind. You can re-lengthen the spine. And exhale, deepen the twist, finding your range of motion for this first open twist. You might already be greeting some of those tense or tight spaces, and those are great places to send awareness and breath. Inhale, let's sweep the arms open. Exhale, back toward the right. This time a little bit of a different twist here. So we're going to turn towards the right, hooking that left hand on the right knee, freeing the right arm and taking left shoulder toward your left knee. So a little bit of a side body opener here, and make it yours. You might lift the arm, rotate the chest up. You might even come back and close it a little bit and re-lengthen. One more breath here. And then release. Once again, let's lift it up. Twisting toward the left. Finding a length of the spine here, and we hook right hand on left knee and begin to descend right shoulder toward the right knee. You can lift left arm up and finding those micro movements as you breathe into the side body, the shoulder, the neck. Good. One more breath here. And unwind. Just a few flexion extension movements here. Simple seated cat-cow, integrating all the way through from the tailbone to the occiput. The whole spine gets to find a little wave movement. Good. And then finding some stillness of the spine and just reading your neck, allowing your chin to come down towards your chest, and then rolling right ear toward right shoulder, and then lifting your chin just to the range of motion for your neck. Then we'll lower the chin, rolling back to center, left ear, left shoulder, rolling up through the chin. A few more, finding your pace, breathing into any of those tight spots. Again, we're rolling chin to chest, ear to shoulder, chin lifts. And then lower chin to chest, ear to shoulder, chin lifts. Good, coming back to center. We're going to draw the arms up overhead for this next one, and we'll do a little breath of fire. So some of you have practiced with me, you're familiar, you're comfortable with this breath. Some of you, this might be new. It's a rapid inhale, exhale through the nose. By the way, I've worn my most heart open shirt today, my big flower on the heart shirt. So that's my gift today. But so we're going to do a little breath of fire. It's a rapid inhale, exhale through the nose. We're coordinating by drawing the navel back toward the spine, generating some chi, some inner fire. If it doesn't work for you, do long, deep breathing in this hold. And if coordinating it with the belly is too much, just the rapid inhale and exhale through the nose is good enough here. We're going to draw the arms up overhead. We're going to keep the thumbs lifted and tuck the fingers in, and imagine that there's a kind of arc of energy that's transferring from thumb to thumb and kind of representing that which we don't see, but is really surrounding us all the time, that auric or energetic body. And inhale here, and we'll begin the breath. Inhale, sweeping the thumbs up to touch. Exhale, open the palms wide and sweep the fingertips down to the earth. Beautiful. Take a moment to integrate that, whether you want to stay seated for another breath or two, or if you want to come down onto your back, which is where we'll meet in a moment. Just allowing yourself to feel the residue, the the experience after the posture. Let that inform you. There's something so potent about those pauses and receiving rather than rushing right into the next thing. We can assimilate. All right, let's meet on our backs. So once you arrive on your back, I'll invite you to take your right knee in for a moment and extend your left leg long. So you can allow that left heel to rest all the way down onto the earth, or you might even lift that left leg up a little bit and just even rock a little bit as you draw right knee in, extend left leg long. And then let that left heel rest and a few pulses or rotations into that right hip flexor. And then one of my favorite stretches lately is to then bend the left knee, take the left heel towards the right sits bone. So you're reaching left knee away as you're drawing that right knee in toward your right shoulder. Now this might be plenty, or you might take your left arm up overhead and just feel that line between the left knee, left fingertips. You might feel this across the left quadricep and the hip flexor, and then you can draw that right knee using the right hand, draw that right knee towards the outside of the right shoulder. Send your breath to sensation. And then let's switch it out, releasing out of that side. We're going to bend left knee, extend the right leg long. You might keep that right heel lifted for a few breaths as you kind of rock that left knee toward you, reach the right fingertips away. And then eventually lowering right heel towards the mat, and then a few pulses or rotations into that left thigh, left leg, using the hands. Those compressions in the hip flexors, so good for the meridian points that pass through the legs, really moving some chi, some energy. And then we're going to bend into the right leg, right heel towards your left sits bone. And this side might have a different story to tell, right? So you can maybe take that right heel toward, or right hand in the opposite direction up overhead, feeling that long line from right knee to right fingertip. You can draw your left knee towards the left shoulder. Send your breath into those parts of your body that are talking to you. Acknowledge them. Say, you're listening. I hear you. And then slowly we'll unwind for a moment, both knees into your chest. Maybe a rocking of both knees, one circle in one way, the other way. And then we'll plant our feet onto the earth. Feeling your legs strong here. I like, when we begin to get into the abdominals, I like to drag my heels toward my sits bones. It will engage through the backs of the legs. Let's take the hands behind the head. Let the head be heavy to start. Inhale and exhale, lifting through head and shoulders. Inhale, lower. So it's a simple movement, and we keep it yogic by yoking attention to breath and body. We're going to change it up here. We're going to release the right hand overhead and exhale, palm to the outside of your left leg. Inhale, open. Exhale, continue to drag the heels towards your sits bones. Open on the inhale. Exhale to lift. Staying with that right arm, right extension across to the left. You'll begin to feel this in the left oblique. Good, and then switch it out. Hands behind head, left arm long. Exhale toward the outside of the right leg. Inhale, open. Exhale, contract. Good, coming back to center, hands behind the head. This time lifting feet off and exhale, just upper body towards the knees. It can be powerful to really honor these contractions by amplifying them, finding the strength in your body that holds us, tethers us to midline. It's going to be helpful, especially as we go into some heart openers later. One more like this. And then lower down through the upper body. You can rest your hands down by your sides, and we're just going to piston through the legs. So just alternating, sitting one leg out, the other in. Let your neck rest for a moment, your shoulders. Palms can really press down. You can choose the range of motion. If your legs go higher, it gets a little easier. As your legs get closer to the earth, a little harder. Coming back to breath. Good, and then pausing for a moment in the legs, hands behind the head. Probably know where we're going. Let's put it together. Right elbow, left knee, left elbow, right knee. Some yogi bicycles. Right? You can imagine that you're going on a little cruiser ride here. Beautiful. One more each side. And coming back to center, let's lower it down, planting the feet down once again. And this time we're going to lift to bridge. So if bridge is new for you, you might want to look at the screen. And then when you come into bridge, keep your gaze up, press the back of your head down to lift your chin slightly, and then we lift the hips. From here, you might choose to interlace hands as we did earlier underneath the sacrum, and then roll one shoulder and the other shoulder underneath, pressing into feet, lifting your hips a little more. You can draw inner thighs toward each other here in bridge, and a few breaths. Continuing to let the back of the head really press into the mat. Slight lift of the chin as you're drawing sternum towards your chin. Now, an invitation, if you'd like to try this, is to keep the hands as they are and then lower the hips on top of your wrists, on top of your hands, kind of wherever your anatomy lets your hips rest onto. And then one leg at a time, extend your legs forward. So it's like a little bit of a fish here, a little bit of a heart opener, extending the legs. Pressing shoulder blades toward each other, breathing into the chest. And then you can rebend the legs to lift the hips, unwind the arms, and rest for a moment. Maybe taking your feet to the edges of your mats and simply letting your knees fall in toward each other. Broken bridge. And then we'll walk our feet back in, lift the knees, lift the feet, hands behind the knees, and a few rocks on your spine. We'll take one brief pause here in Navasana. So allowing yourself to rest behind your sits bones, hands behind the knees, lifting through your heart. You can stay right here, hands helping to hold the legs, or you might release the hands next to the legs, right? Coming to your breath. You might stay here. You might choose to lengthen through the legs. Ooh, that's intense, right? You can come in, you can come back out. Feeling how your core supports you to radiate out in all directions. And then bending through the knees, we're going to rock right up and over your shins, and we'll come into a tabletop. So in table, so a few breaths here, cat, cow, the spine. Let it be fluid, make it yours. Integrating through head to tail. And then coming to center, let's wag the tail a little bit here. So just moving your tail side to side. And then you did this last time, and I've been liking this too. So as you wag to the left, take your gaze to the left, lift your right foot and peek at your toes, okay? And then the other direction. We're C curving to the right, lift your left foot, take a gaze at it. And then just back and forth a few times. You can really squeeze into the side body. Notice how it can feel good to find that contraction there. We're tapping into the gallbladder and liver meridians that run through the side body. Nice little detox there. Good. And then coming through to center. And just a few rotations here. So you can bring your left knee slightly forward of your right, and then left hip to the left, up to the right and down. So a few circles in this direction. Maybe your spine follows that circle, your shoulders, even your head. Good, and then to center, we'll take that the other way before we get too dizzy, right? So right knee can come a little ahead of the left, right hip to the right, up to the left and down. And hey, if these circular movements are challenging for the brain, that's okay, right? We live in a rather linear world. So to get out of that linearity into these undulations and circular movements gets us out of our head, and that can be hard sometimes. All right, let's come on back into center. And then from here, we're going to curl the toes under and lift the hips. Let's find a little bit of a down dog here, just a morning stretch down dog. So you can walk out one knee and then the other. Maybe you bend through both knees. Re-lengthen. And then just like the waves on the ocean, and you might want to peek at the screen for a moment and then come into this on your own, we're going to do some flowing movements between down dog and plank. And you can imagine here the way that the ocean recedes from the shore and then comes toward the shore so that we're rolling through the spine. Let the upper back come toward the front of the mat and then extend the chin forward. Let the hips come back. Let the gaze come back last. Let's do that a few more times. Rolling through the spine, let the upper back come forward, then the head comes forward, bending the knees, rolling back. One last time. Once we arrive in downward dog, I'll invite you to walk your feet a little wider towards the edges of the mat and begin to walk your hands back towards your feet, bending your legs, and we'll meet in a squat. So your squat might be up here and it might be down here. Totally welcome either way. I'm going to invite you to just explore it. So in this shape, I'll turn to face you for a moment. I'm just gonna move side to side. No right, no wrong. You're gonna feel into your hips, your knees, your ankles. All right, if you're up here, you might be going side to side here, right? So feeling this out wherever your body takes you today. And then we're gonna meet in center, Malasana, Garland pose. And you can take a moment, maybe pressing the elbows toward the insides of the legs, maybe taking the palms to prayer, maybe exploring lengthening your spine a little bit. We're not here too long. You can always roll up the mat under your heels, but again, we're not staying too long. It's just a brief pause here. And now we're going to press up to standing, and we're really pressing into the earth to lengthen through the body all the way up. Ooh, that's a big transition. We're going to do it 2 more times. We're going to come all the way back down. All right, and then using that connection to the earth, the pressing downward, that's going to lift us up. Maybe let your arms find that big starfish shape at the top, and then descending. Good. And one more time, let's reach all the way up. And from here, we'll stay standing. I'll invite you to either come palm to palm in front of your heart or palm over your heart. Whatever lets you come back to self. Maybe you sense your heartbeat. Maybe returning to your intention for class. And then as you're ready, coming back into some movement, we'll release the hands here, drawing them up overhead. I'll step back a little bit. We're gonna just interlace the fingers here. So one palm up, one palm down, doesn't really matter. We're just gonna reach elbow toward the side body and then go the other way. And again, there's no right or wrong to this. So feeling with your breath and your rhythm, creating the side bodies. Just like we did in tabletop, a little contraction into one side body as we open the other side. You might switch which palm's on top, that's up to you. And then from here, we'll release the hands, clasping them behind the back as we did before, and then draw the knuckles down to lift through the heart. Really pressing into the feet, broadening across the chest. Inhale. And exhale, we'll come into a forward fold. So if your feet are tight together, you might widen them to hip width apart or wider even. And Yogi Mudra, we bow the head below the heart. And with our connected hands, just let yourself lift and lower a little bit here. So you can squeeze the shoulder blades Let the arms lift you kind of halfway. And then exhale, deepen in. Another breath like that. And then releasing your hands down to the earth. Now I'm a big fan of blocks, so if you like, have blocks or books or soup cans, right? Whatever you want. If you want to bring the floor closer, bring the floor closer. Whatever you need here to meet this first forward fold. I invite you to bend your knees. Let your upper body kind of hang, maybe even rock it a little bit. You can maybe take fingers to elbow creases if you like that. And then maybe nod your head yes, shake it no, shake all the fuzzy stuff out of there. Let your head be heavy, right? You don't have to figure it all out. Whoa. And then from here, let's all take a halfway lift. You'll lengthen the spine. You might take hands to shins or to those blocks again, right? Whatever serves you here. Finding that halfway lift. And exhale, let's fold it in. Again, halfway lift, feeling the strength of the core, the spine. And exhale, fold it in. Inhale, halfway. This time, exhale, let's plant the hands and step back, high plank. And then from here, we're gonna bend at the knees, bend at the elbows, lower the heart, lower the chin, and then soften the hips to the mat, lowering all the way down. We'll find some rolling cobras here. So once again, some free form movement. Find this with your breath. You get to choose how much weight in the hands, how much lift of the heart. Good, one more like that. And then from here, we're curling the toes under, and you can press back through tabletop. Some of you might choose to go right to plank. We meet in downward dog. So each time we return to this familiar shape is an opportunity to notice what's shifting, what's changing throughout the practice. What is your body needing now? Stillness or movement? Honoring. And then as you're ready, we'll take a gaze forward, and you can walk forward or you might hop forward if you're ready for that. I'm gonna walk for this first one to the front of the mat. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, this time just bending at the elbows, lifting the heart. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, finding that halfway lift, lengthen. And exhale, planting hands. Stepping back, high to low plank this time. You can always return to the earth for cobra. Otherwise, coming halfway down, rolling over the toes. Inhale to lift your heart. Then exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. Now in downward dog, if you are ever needing a rest, it's a great time. You can lower the knees. You might get a drink of water, whatever you're needing. And from downward dog, we're going to widen the feet once again as we did before. We're going to bend the knees as we walk the hands back. Finding your way into Malasana. We've been here already, maybe pressing elbows into the inner thighs, Maybe pressing inner thighs back towards the elbows as you lengthen the spine. And our transition to standing, pressing into the feet, lengthening all the way up. I'm getting warm now. How about you? Okay, we're going to step the feet wider. So I'm turning sideways on my mat. You'll figure this out in your space. I trust that. And we're going to turn the feet out, knees tracking towards the toes here. And we begin to bend into the knees. Now I'll invite you to take either your hands or your forearms, again, your range of motion down here so that we're leaning forward. And then we're going to kind of meet your body here. This is the shape. Doesn't matter what it looks like, that you're going to find and discover things within it, right? So you can move a little bit side to side. You might pulse a little bit. You might even figure eight here towards your hips, right? So just exploring what happens in this shape, maybe reaching your heart forward. So there's an intensity in the lower body. That's okay. We're greeting it. A lot of this is learning how to meet intensity. There's a lot of it in our world. Good. And then from here, we're going to press into the feet to come up. Well, finding a variation of goddess with the arms lifted. And we're going to move with our goddess. On the exhale, we're going to sweep. You can take one forearm in front of the other. And then inhale. And then you can take the opposite forearm in front. Just exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. One more time. You feeling your legs? Good. Good. We want to find the edge. We don't want to go too far past it. You can always take breaks, right? Inhale. We're going to lift all the way up this time. Lengthen through the legs. And then turning the feet inward. Yes, once again, we're going to clasp the hands. Drawing the knuckles down to lift the heart. This time a wide-legged prasarita forward fold. As we exhale, heart forward, bending the knees as needed. And taking arms up overhead. Let something go here, right? Rolling off the shoulders. Let the jaw release. Stick your tongue out. Nobody's looking. Unless you're practicing with your kids. Some of you are. That's great. Naomi, stick your tongue out, right? Let it go. Exhale, releasing hands by your sacrum. My cousin's going to call out today. Hands to the earth. Finding a halfway lift with the spine. And exhale, we're going to fold it in. We're going to add some twists in. So we're going to plant that left palm right under the face. Long spine. And we're going to reach through that right arm. So a little bit of a twist. Now you can place right palm on your sacrum to check in that the hips aren't twisting. We're twisting from the mid-spine. Once you've got that nice stable base in the sacrum, maybe you reach through the right fingertips. And then let's come back through to center. We're going to replace right hand where the left was. And then we're going to begin to twist open to the left, maybe left palm to the sacrum. Checking in that we've got a nice long spine, stable base, twisting from the mid-spine, maybe the left fingertips reach. And exhale. All right, this next one can be a little knee intensive. So warning for my knee injury folks, and I'll show a modification. So the non-modified version is that we're going to come into Skandasana, or a surfer's pose, right? So you can take into a kind of deep half Malasana on one side and long leg on the other side, greeting the inner thigh. That's too much, stay up high, okay? So here's our modification. Here's the full Skandasana, and then let it be yours. You can flex and point through the toes. You might come onto forearms. My super flexy people might take that left arm around the left knee and right hand can grasp, or whichever side is the bent side here. You might clasp behind your bent leg. It doesn't matter, right? It's not the outer form. It's what feels good in your body. Greeting it, the tight spots. Okay, we're gonna walk through center and we'll find it on the other side, either the lifted up version or the lowered down version. You can flex and point your toes, make it yours. What is this side saying? What's this side needing? Maybe you're on forearms, maybe you find that little clasp behind the bent leg. No, yoga is not meant to be oh so serious. We can find a little play in here. Ah, good. And then we'll come back up through center. And bending the knees, if you'd like, for our transition up to standing. Here we are. We'll find our way up to the front of the mat. Oh, you can just wiggle that out. Wiggle it through your hips, to your ankles, your knees, shoulders. Maybe a little shaking it out. That's a lovely way to release the yuck. Okay. And then from here, we'll find a Katasana. So you're all getting that I've got some themes going today. We're gonna clasp our hands again in our Katasana and draw the knuckles down, lifting through the chest. Now, if any of you have ever watched the Titanic, and there's that image where she's at the front of the ship and the wind is blowing into her face, right? You might even free your hands here and just catch that wind, that openness in the midst of intensity, right? We're awake to the world. And then we're gonna add some breath and flow here. Let's free the arms, lift them up. Exhale, sweep them back. Few breaths like this. Let the exhale come out the mouth, maybe a sound. Let something go. Stress of 2020, stress of the last 2 weeks. Let something go. Good. Inhale and lengthen the legs. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands. Stepping back. Your way to down dog. Maybe a vinyasa of your choice. Maybe you skip it all together. And once you arrive in down dog, we're going to pause for a moment. We're going to find a wide-legged child's pose. Feet together, knees to the edges of your mat, and pressing the hips back. So once again, you can find your way in, wiggle your way in, finding the hips, the spine. Let your head be heavy. A lovely variation in this one is to take the palms together and then bring the thumbs toward the back of your neck. In these pauses into stillness, it's like allowing the soul to catch up with the body. I'll share one more little variation in our Mandukasana, or a little bit of a frog pose here. You can even widen your feet out a little bit as you widen your knees. So your hips are falling between your feet. And then take your palms together and let the thumbs bend, and then the thumb knuckles can come into the creases of the inner eye at the top of the nose here. So we've got these lovely little pressure points here. Just a little circling. Let your head be heavy on your on your hands. And then soften and release. We'll come back through table. Check in and see if you've caught up with yourself, right? That's our goal for those mindful pauses. And as you're ready, we'll press back into downward facing dog. From downward dog, we're going to take the left foot a little closer to the right leg, right foot to free the right leg up behind you. So it's letting your right leg reach. And then we're going to draw knee in towards your chin, towards your chest. Inhale, we'll find a reach. Once again, a little contraction there. Inhale, expand, listen carefully, keeping right leg up. We're going to stack right hip above the left. You can bend into that right knee, maybe peek under, gaze at your right foot. You can circle it around one way and the other way. And then pressing into the hands as you reach the right knee away, opening the side body. We will take the hips back, even gaze forward, and step right foot forward between the hands. Now, if you like a few breaths here, again, blocks can come in handy with this, just in and out of your lunge. And then checking in with your feet that they are hip widths or so apart. Nice wide base. And then we're going to walk our hands up, the front leg, all the way up into crescent. So taking your time to arrive in this shape. Finding your breath here. You can bend and lengthen through that back leg a little bit. And then we'll inhale here. And exhale, we're going to bow over that front leg and cross one forearm in front of the other. Inhale, we'll lengthen. And exhale, a little bow to yourself. In service of remembering, inhale to lift. Exhale, one more time. Inhale, Spanda, pulsation. Exhale, hands come down to frame the right leg. And then from here, we're going to open the right arm towards the sky and exhale, sweep right hand under the right leg. So a little pulsing movement here. Inhale to open. Exhale, sweep it under. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale to open. Exhale, planting right hand, stepping right foot back to meet the left. Little pause in down dog. If you need a child's pose, take it. And then when you're ready, joining, we're going to take the right foot slightly closer to the left foot. Inhale, freeing your left leg. Exhale, knee toward chest. Inhale, find freedom, expansion. Exhale into the contraction. Inhale, lengthen, stay there. Exhale, open the hips. Pressing into palms, maybe gazing under your right fingertip. Maybe you see your foot rotate it one way and the other way. Breathing into the stretch. And then taking the hips back to even, gaze forward, exhale all the way forward and through. And a few breaths pulsing in and out of your lunge. Good. When you're ready, feet hip width, nice stable base. Walking hands on top of the left leg. Drawing arms up overhead. Crescent pose. Down. A little bit of movement if you like, in and out of that back leg, front leg. And we'll find our sweeping movements here. Inhale, expand. Exhale, sweep it under. Inhale to lift. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Open and expand. Exhale to frame the front leg. Good. And then inhale, sweeping your left arm. Exhale, under the leg. Inhale to open. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale here. And exhale, planting your hands. Stepping left foot back to meet the right. And either vinyasa through or press straight back. Downward facing dog. So we'll take another flow from here. Again, if you need a rest in child's pose, find it. And when you're ready to join, inhale, freeing the right leg back and behind. Exhale, gazing forward, stepping through. This time we're grounding the left heel and we'll windmill the arms up to warrior two. So take your time finding the shape. And again, remembering that it's not the outer shape that matters. What's happening inside. We'll do a little pulsing here as well. So we'll spread the wings, inhale, and exhale. Let's lengthen through the right leg, bring palms to the heart. Inhale, exhale. Maybe you even let the gaze travel towards the right fingertips and back to center. One more like that. Rebending into the right leg, extend the arms. Inhale, reaching away from the front bent leg. And exhale, extended side angle. Taking your time to find your way in. Let it feel good. Maybe left arm reaching long overhead. Feeling that long line of energy from the outer left foot to the left fingertips. Inhale, we'll lift up from here. This time again, lengthening through that right leg. You might toe heel click your left foot in slightly. That's a little bit of a shorter stance. And then inhale, lift, exhale, reach through the right fingertips, rotating the arms. And you can rest onto your shin, great place for a block, right? Some of you might find the floor. That's up to you. Listening to your body. And I'll invite a little bit of a sweeping movement with that left arm up overhead, down and around. Again, there's no right way to do this. Just noticing how it feels in your body. Maybe drawing the arm up overhead Another option here is to then take that left arm behind your body, a little bit of a bind as you grab toward the right hip crease. And then using that bind to open through the left shoulder. Now, not everyone wants that. That's great. Listen to your body. You can re-extend that left arm and open the wings. And then from here, we'll gaze down, bending into that right leg. A little pause in warrior two. And then to windmill to the earth. And up to you if you want a vinyasa, if you want to skip it, your practice. We'll find this on side two. So if you find that you are really pushing yourself at this point, I want you to honor your practice, your body. If you're ready to keep going, inhale, lifting the left leg, stepping forward and through. We're grounding into the right heel this time, and we're going to lift all the way up to warrior two. So again, you can lift and lower. I'm going to face you guys. And then when you're ready, spreading the wings, gazing if you'd like, and we'll find our little Spanda practice, our pulsation. So we can lift up, bring palms together, and then inhale, expand. Exhale. One more. We meet in warrior two, and then inhale, reaching away. Exhale into extended side angle. You can use the forearm here. You can use that right arm up overhead. And then from here, we'll lift away. Once again, we'll lengthen through that left leg. I'm going to grab my block. I like using that on the other side. And from here, maybe a slightly shortened stance, reaching away. And exhale, long reach, reach, reach. Rotate, maybe hand to shin, block the earth, whatever your body's needing. This side might be different, right? Just honoring. And we'll find those rotations. Reaching arm up overhead, down, sweeping it back. My invitation to you is let this feel good. Let it nourish you. And then perhaps lifting up. If you liked it on the other side, maybe you half bind, taking that hand behind the body and sneaking it around to that left hip crease and using the bind to help us open. Isn't that quite a metaphor for life? The way that the tight spots actually deep in practice invite us to open just a little more. Maybe freeing that arm, reaching fingertips to the sky. And then soften and release into that left knee, a visit to warrior two. And exhale your way to downward dog. Once you arrive in downward dog, I will invite you to lower your knees and press back into child's pose. It's up to you if you want your knees together or wide. Whatever you're choosing, just allowing the heartbeat to slow down, yourself to arrive. your soul to catch up with your body. And then slowly, slowly, I'll invite you to just press back to sitting. So if that's sitting on your heels or if you want to shift to cross-legged, I'm going to demo something really quick. We've got one more flow that I have planned for you today. I've gotten warm, so my flower shirt's coming off temporarily. And so in this next flow, we're going to, and I'm going to show it a lot quicker than we'll go through it together. We're going to inhale right leg. Exhale, we're going to step forward, this time into warrior one. So the hips are aiming towards the front. We'll sweep the arms up to lift. Exhale, our theme for today, hands behind the sacrum. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale, we'll find a visit to humble warrior. And then here's what I wanted to demo. We're going to come back up halfway. We're going to lift the left heel and find your gaze forward. We're going to find a little bit of flight here in a bound warrior three. So talking you through it and balancing, not always easy, but here we are, right? We're going to find that. And then from there, we're going to lift into standing, and then 2 feet on the floor. So faster than we'll do it, but I wanted you to see it before we come into it together. That way you might opt in or out too, right? Okay, we're going to meet in downward dog when you're ready. From downward dog, freeing the right leg back and behind, inhale. Exhale to gaze forward, step through. This time we ground the left heel. We're going to lift up into warrior one. So letting yourself take your time, maybe a pause here, hands to hips, we're angling forward, but nothing forced. And then inhale, freeing the arms, lifting the heart, the gaze. A few breaths here. Inhale. And exhale, we'll sweep the hands down by the sacrum. Interlacing the hands, drawing the knuckles down your left leg as you open the heart. Keeping that open heart as we bow forward, exhale, right elbow toward right shoulder toward the inside of the right leg. So as we explore keeping the open heart, let your arms help with that. Don't simply collapse into the shoulders, but as the arms engage and shoulder blades pull toward each other, we keep that open heart in the intensity of the fold. And I love the name of this posture. Let your head go, let your neck go, even as the chest stays open in this humble warrior shape. This humility that is such grace and leadership that we've been lacking. Okay. I'm finding a deep inhale. Exhale, sweeping the hands down by the sacrum, freeing them to the earth, and then inhale, sweeping up. Once again, let's clasp the hands. This time, as we interlace the hands, we free the left heel, and you might have a few launches on your way to take flight as you send the weight into the right foot, lifting your left leg. One more squeeze behind the shoulder blades. Use your gaze for balance. And then slowly, a little bend in that right leg as we also bend the left leg, free the hands, take hold in front of the left shin. And then replace left foot to the earth. 2 feet on the ground, lovely place, palm over palm or palm to palm in front of your heart. Sensing your aliveness. The beauty of practice is, so be it, we fall out of the posture, we get to come back again and again. We get to be gentle and practice gentleness and compassion and acceptance again and again. We fall, we get up. Let's find this on side 2. Inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And your way to downward dog. Step lower or not. All right, lift the heart or not. From downward dog. Inhale, freeing your left leg. Exhale, stepping forward, grounding into the right heel. And inhale, lifting up. Warrior 1. And take your time. There's no rush. Greet yourself as you are, where you are. And then maybe arms sweep up, maybe the gaze follows. If the gaze is following, let yourself take the arms over the heart rather than all the way up, so that there's some freedom here of the shoulders and the neck. Inhaling here. And exhale, sweeping the arms back and behind. Maybe clasp in the opposite, awkward direction. And then take the arms, sweeping them down the right leg. And exhale, humble warrior. Left shoulder to the inside of your left thigh. Keeping that openness in the heart, that tether to the core, drawing shoulder blades toward each other. Then just let the neck be heavy. Let the head go. Gazing toward the arch in your right foot. Slowly, by way of your sacrum, releasing the hands to the earth. We'll sweep all the way back up through Warrior 1. Exhale, we clasp the hands once again, maybe that opposite, awkward direction. Inhale to lift the heart. This time we lift the right heel. Set your gaze, take your time to launch onto that left foot. Little balance play, bound warrior 3. No doubt, an intense shape. How can you stay open to yourself, open to the world? And then slowly we bend into that left knee. We free the hands. We sweep the right knee forward and up and clasp for a moment here, before we set the right foot down to the earth. Good. One more time, last standing moment. Inhale, freeing the heart, the hands. Exhale. Inhale, halfway. And exhale. Hands plant, stepping back. High to low. Maybe last time lifting the heart in this shape, whether it's upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, lowering the knees. And an option to come back sitting onto your heels, if that's too much, a block or cross-legged, and a pause. Maybe palm resting into palm. And then opening the eyes if they're closed. From here, we'll find a variation of camel. We're going to lift up through the hips. Once again, interlace your hands and then open the heart. We'll press the hips forward, tether into the core, and lift the heart up. Maybe your chin lifts slightly. Today, the focus is on expanding, but keeping that tether. Don't give it all away. And then slowly release right down into cat-cow. Just 2-3 breaths here, letting that integrate through your spine. And then we're pressing to down dog just for a transition to pigeon. So lifting the knees, lifting the right leg, and right knee toward your right wrist. So pigeon can be a tricky shape. Again, if you've got knee challenge, come to your back for supine figure 4, right? That's the alternative. And if you're in pigeon, I'll invite you to check in. You might want to block under that right hip, another lovely support. And for a moment before we lower the heart, just lift to fingertips, lift through your heart, any little wiggles that you need there to find this shape. And then forward fold, walking your hands forward, resting your head, whether it's onto your forearms or a block or the earth. Letting your shoulders be soft. Finding your breath and your relationship to gravity. As my friend Anne likes to remind me, the floor is not going anywhere. When we come into these shapes of rest and stillness, see if you can notice the spanda inside of the stillness, the subtleties of the breath, the little contractions and expansions of the mind, greeting where intensity shows up in your hips and using the exhale to release it from your shoulders. And then slowly pressing into palms, lifting through the heart once again. Curling left toes under, and we'll switch sides, drawing the right leg back. Maybe just a little pause, and then lifting left leg, left knee toward left wrist. Finding your variation, taking your time there, a block or on your back. And then if you're in pigeon, taking a moment on fingertips to lift through the heart, feeling that opening across the front line of your body. Before exhaling into a forward fold. It's so worthwhile to know when we want to bring in support, when we need to bring in support. Create a soft landing for yourself. Pillows, blankets, right? All of that feels so nourishing. your head be heavy, your jaw soft. Your eyes might soften here. Ears relaxed. All the sensory perceptors can let go. Nothing to reach for. To shift into the receptive mode can be a little vulnerable. It's making space. About surrendering. It's your practice. Receiving your practice, yourself. Now slowly lifting up on this side. And this time we'll just shift weight into the left hip and draw the right leg around. A brief moment before we come onto our backs, just to give yourself a little hug right here. You can tuck your forehead towards your knees, hugging yourself. And then letting it go. So allowing yourself to find your way, your soft landing. And whether you want to add a layer, bring in a cushion, put a blanket over yourself. You could put a bolster under your knees. You might even want to go to a wall and put legs up the wall, right? Whatever lets you arrive in stillness in the most supportive way, most loving way towards yourself. At this stage of practice, it's so powerful to give yourself the gift of knowing that you have done enough. You are enough. You have enough. Scanning your body for any part of you that might be resisting gravity. Asking, what does that part need to let go? I'm going to offer a chant as you rest and receive in Shavasana. This is Om Ganapataye Namaha. It's a chant to Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. Om Ganapataye Namaha. 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 In service of remembering who you are. Taking your time, giving yourself the gift of time, if you have it, to stay in Shavasana or your resting shape longer. And if you are ready or needing to transition back out of your practice, we'll come to closing together in a formal way, just taking your fingers, wiggling them, your toes. You can rotate hands around the wrists, feet around the ankles. Any final stretches that you need. And then you might curl into a fetal position. It's a lovely metaphor, a lovely little symbolic moment of rebirth from corpse pose, Shavasana. So drawing your knees in, whether you're on your back or your side, and then rolling or rocking your way back up to sitting. Taking these final moments again to receive your practice. Palm to palm in front of the heart, bowing head to heart. Namaste. Alrighty. I will take us off recording mode, and you are welcome to unmute and say hello.